Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some very spicy battles in the Spring Cup featuring Sawsbuck. Now, Sawsbuck is a grass and normal type Pokemon with the moveset of Feint Attack, Wild Charge, and Mega Horn, and it has the honor of being one of the lowest ranked Pokemon in the Spring Cup. However, despite that fact, this is one of the hardest counters to Trevenant, so I figured I may as well test it out and see if we can make some Trevenants upset. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Sawsbuck in action in the Spring Cup. Hopping into the first match, picking up a pretty decent lead, Tentacruel into Mantine. My opponent is going to save switch into Trevenant, and now it's time for Sawsbuck to shine. Sawsbuck, these Feint Attacks absolutely shredding through the Trevenant, and on top of that, Sawsbuck either single or double resists both of Trevenant's charge moves. I believe I should be able to Feint Attack down here, so I am going to let this go and fully commit to the farm down. Opponent able to hang on with 1 HP on the Trevenant. I will have to give up a shield, but I leave with back-to-back wild charges to threaten the Mantine. Back in comes the Mantine. Do they respect the damage? They do not! Mantine gets one shot, and in the back they have Lantern. I fire off the Mega Horn. This gets a shield. In comes Roserade. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. We see mirror leads in the next match, Tentacruel versus Tentacruel. Considering I have 2 grass types in the back, I'm definitely going to be staying in this matchup to start with. I'm going to farm up to the Scald and go for the Acid Spray right away. I want to get an early debuff because I need to get rid of this Tentacruel as fast as possible because my backline does not want to see it whatsoever. They're going to be firing off a Scald. Scald lands and thankfully does not lower my attack. I'm going to be returning fire with a Scald of my own. They are, of course, 2 stages debuffed here, so Scald is going to get them low, and I do get the attack drop. That's quite nice. My opponent is going to be firing off another charge move here. They're running Sludge Wave. That gets me low. I'm going to switch into Roserade. I'm not quite able to get the farm down, though. My opponent is going to send in Trevenant. Trevenant is going to be hit with the Fire-type Weather Ball, and that does so much damage. I'm going for another Weather Ball here before they're able to make it to a Shadow Wall. That's going to get a shield. Continuing to farm with the Roserade. Very precise counting from my opponent. They're not going to let me make it to another Weather Ball. Seed Bomb is going to KO. Now I can send in Sawsbuck and tank whatever they throw. They go for the Shadow Ball. That is double resisted. The question is, what does the opponent have in the back here? They have Galarian Weezing. Galarian Weezing, a pretty tough matchup for Sawsbuck. Opponent goes for the catch and fails the catch. They do have a lot of energy here, but so do I. And I have a shield advantage, which is absolutely what Sawsbuck needs to try and win this game. I'm going to fire off the Wild Charge. That's going to get them low. Aggressive switch into the Tentacruel. And this is basically just going to force them to throw some energy here. They go for the Brutal Swing. And now with Sawsbuck, I can very safely Feint Attack down and secure the win. Picking up a very tough lead in the next match, Tentacruel into Lantern. I'm going to throw 1 Poison Jab, save switch into Roserade. My opponent is going to respond with a regular Mawile. The nice thing is, regular or Shadow, 2 Weather Balls are still enough to KO, so I can always get a shield here. I'm going to go for Weather Ball number 2 here. This is going to be grabbing a shield from my opponent, and now I can just wait the clock, send in Tentacruel, and Tentacruel is going to be able to soak this damage from the Mawile, no problem. So I'm going to send in the Tentacruel. Tentacruel looking for the aggressive Poison Jab farm down. My opponent is going to fire off the Play Rough. Tentacruel able to tank it and get the farm down. My opponent is going to send in the Lantern. I bank a Scald for later, and I'm going to bring in Sawsbuck. Sawsbuck will be met with the Galarian Weezing. I'm going to let the first move through here, as they're probably just going straight Brutal Swing, and I do need to let one through to try and have a chance here. Unfortunately, I don't have the energy lead that I had previously in that last match, so that is going to make this a bit challenging. I'm going to be firing off the Wild Charge here. Wild Charge into the Weezing, does get the shield, and I'm going for another Wild Charge on the CMP tie. This Wild Charge is not going to be enough to KO. It does get them extremely low, and I think at this point, I just have to trust in Tentacruel. So I am going to send in Tentacruel. In comes the Lantern, and I'm going for the Acid Spray right off the bat. I need to get this debuff, and then, now that their defense is lowered, hope that the combined Poison Jab damage plus the Scald is going to be enough. I have to call a bait here. They go for the Surf, and maybe this gives me a chance. I'm firing off the Scald. This is resisted, but their defense has been lowered. This is going to be close. It's a fast move race, and it's a simultaneous KO. Moving into the next match, picking up a positive lead, Tentacruel into Galarian Weezing. my opponent is going to save switch into their own Tentacruel, and this is a bit difficult, as unfortunately, my best Tentacruel answer is my own Tentacruel, so I will need to stay in here to start with. I'm going to go for the Acid Spray right off the bat, getting that early debuff. My opponent is going to fire off a move as well. They're running Sludge Wave on their Tentacruel. That does hit for quite a lot of damage. I'm going to be firing off a Scald here. This Scald is going to get them low. My opponent commits the shield, and I get the attack drop. That is quite nice. I farm up, go for the Acid Spray, and I win CMP. I was anticipating they were going to throw one before I got to my Scald, so I'm able to win CMP there, go for the Acid Spray. My opponent is actually running a double Poison Charge moveset. Now I'm going to send in Roserade. Roserade should be able to tank the Acid Spray here, no problem, and then I'm just going to commit to the farm down. My opponent now going to send in a Jellicent, and I'm farming up and firing off the Leaf Storm on the CMP tie to the Surf. CMP tie does get the shield, and from here, I think I just saved 2 shields for Sawsbuck, because Sawsbuck, when shields are down, can put in a surprising amount of work. In comes Sawsbuck. Sawsbuck farming up energy here. They're going to be firing off a move, and I'm going to let this through. It is going to be the Surf. And honestly, I think my win con may be attempting to feint attack all the way down. I will shield. Surf, of course, is resisted, but I do want to try and preserve some HP. So I am looking for the full farm down here with Sawsbuck. I am going to double shield and preserve HP. We know they have the Wheezing. Wheezing definitely going to get KO'd by double Wild Charge here. I just have to watch for the catch. So I am going to be firing off the Wild Charge here. This is going to be getting the Wheezing low. Watch for the catch. They go for it. I'm debuffed, so I'm going to bring in my own Tentacruel and farm down. Wheezing looking for a farm down to try and win the game, but that's not going to happen. Tentacruel makes it to the Scald, KOs the Wheezing, and that is a good game. Tough lead in the next match, Tentacruel into another Lantern. Same game plan as before, throw 1 Poison Jab, save switch into Roserade. It's actually a Water Gun Lantern, interestingly enough. Now the opponent is going to send in a Shadow Mawile. Needed to bait out the Fire Fang user for Sawsbuck to have play in the back. And as you can see, I'm able to grab a shield with the first Weather Ball. The second Weather Ball, unfortunately, is going to be no-shielded, but this still does set up the opportunity for Tentacruel to get a nice farm down. So I'm going to fully wait my timer, send in the Tentacruel, absorb whatever they throw, and then just fully farm down. This way I have shield advantage for Sawsbuck in the endgame. I'm able to get the farm down. My clock is not quite up yet. I'm going to bank the Scald, send in Sawsbuck, and in the back is Trevenant. Opponent core broken by Sawsbuck, and I'm going for the dagger here, going for the Mega Horn. Mega Horn gets the shield, and the opponent concedes the match. Hopping into the next match, leading into a core breaker for the team, and that is Walrein. Walrein, of course, has Earthquake for the Tentacruel, and with the ice damage, it can hit both the grass types in the back for super effective as well. So definitely not a fun Pokemon for this team to see. I fire off the Acid Spray, opponent does have enough for the Earthquake, Walreins love to bait, I'm no shielding, and it's the Icicle Spear. Opponent save switches into a Trevenant, and you already know it is Sawsbuck time. Sawsbuck, these feint attacks shredding through the Trevenant. Trevenant fires off a Seed Bomb. Sawsbuck able to tank that. I'm actually going to go for a Mega Horn here because, as I saw last time, if I want to farm down, I'm probably going to have to commit a shield, so I may as well get a shield back in return. So I am able to grab a shield with the Mega Horn. They're going to go for Seed Bomb number 2 and Seed Bomb number 3, but I'm going to shield this one up because I'm hoping I can leave with a Wild Charge loaded to threaten the Walrein. I don't quite have the Wild Charge, but one more feint attack, and I'm able to get there. Let's see, does the opponent respect it? Yes, they do. They do commit the shield. Back in comes the Tentacruel, going for the Acid Spray, but I lose CMP. I do commit the shield here. It's another bait, and that is very unfortunate, as now I'm all out of shields. I fire off the Acid Spray. That's going to be no shielded here. In the back, opponent has Ferrothorn, and I do have Fire-type Weather Ball, but the issue is this does not one-shot from full health. I'm going to fire off the Weather Ball. That does quite a bit of damage, but I'm in a very tough position here. I can KO the Ferrothorn with a second Weather Ball, but if I do, then I just get farmed down with Walrein, and Walrein Earthquakes my Tentacruel. So instead, I actually don't throw the move with the Roserade, and I'm going to leave it all up to my Tentacruel. Tentacruel going for the farm down, gets the farm down, leaves with the Scald, loses CMP. Opponent had an Icicle Spear banked. That's going to KO as we lose a heartbreaking game. Our Tentacruel not having the best of days as it's greeted once again by a Lantern lead. As always, one poison jab, save switch into Roserade, and my opponent brings in Obamasnow. But the important thing here is that they were not the fastest on their switch, so this potentially gives Roserade the ability to flip this in the 2-shield. I am going to be shielding up the Weather Ball here, throw in one more Bullet Seed, and go on for the Weather Ball. This all comes down to, can I live 3 more Powder Snows here? Roserade farming up, lives the Powder Snows, makes a 3rd Weather Ball. This is double super effective, and it's going to be taking care of the Obamasnow. Back in comes Lantern, but Lantern is now going to have to deal with the grass type that is Sawsbuck. Sawsbuck is going to resist whatever they throw here. Opponent goes for the Thunderbolt. That is going to be resisted. I'm going to keep farming. Let's see what they have in the back. It's a Trevenant. Oh my goodness. Sawsbuck sweep in the endgame. Megahorn lands, and the opponent concedes the match. The tough leads continue in the next match. Tentacruel into Ferrothorn. I'm going to throw one Poison Jab, and then I'm going to save switch into Roserade. Ferrothorn stays in, and they're actually running Mirror Shot. So they're going to go for the Mirror Shot here. Mirror Shot will actually do some sizable damage, as well as get an attack drop, and now my opponent sends in Dugong. I'm going straight for the Leaf Storm. Leaf Storm nearly able to KO, and I win CMP with the Weather Ball as they make it to the Icy Wind. That is going to KO. We'll have to see. What does my opponent send in here now that they've lost switch? They bring back in the Ferrothorn. This Weather Ball is triple debuffed, but it is double super effective, so we will see a shield from the Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn just able to get the farm down, and that's a bit unfortunate as they leave with a lot of energy, and Mirror Shot will add up against the Glassy Sawsbuck. They're going for the Mirror Shot. That does do a solid amount of damage, and they just have so much energy loaded here that being at an energy deficit is a bit difficult. They're actually running Mirror Shot and Thunder. What a moveset by the opponent. Oh my goodness. I am going to be shielding up the Mirror Shot here. Unfortunately, my attack does get lowered, and they're somehow at another Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot is just so spammy when it's combined with Bullet Seed. I'm debuffed, but I will fire off the Megahorn here. Megahorn is going to land. Sawsbuck able to get the farm down. What do they have in the back? It's a Wall Rain. I'm going to bank the Wild Charge for later and bring in the Tentacruel. My only hope is that somehow I'm able to get the shield from the Wall Rain with the Tentacruel, and then I can win with the Wild Charge. No shields remaining for me, so unfortunately, my opponent just gets to land the Earthquake here. Wall Rain is going to be met with another Acid Spray here. Are they shielding? This is the game. They do not. They get the farm down. I have no shields remaining. They're able to KO with an Icicle Spear, as unfortunately, we do lose the match. Next match, we've got a bit of a core breaker on the lead. Tentacruel into Pelipper. Pelipper does have a lot of play into this entire team, so definitely not the most fun Pokemon to encounter. Tough decision to make here. I commit the shield, and my opponent did full send the Hurricane. They're going to send in Ferrothorn to catch the Acid Spray. Very nice catch by my opponent. But the good news is now that they are debuffed, a Weather Ball is absolutely going to KO from the Roserade. This is not enough for a Flash Cannon, so I am going to let it through. It is just going to be the Mirror Shot, so I can overfarm, go for the Weather Ball on the CMP tide to Mirror Shot number 2, and KO the Ferrothorn. If my opponent sends back in the Pelipper, I should be able to make it to a Leaf Storm here. Farming up, trying to throw on good timing. My opponent does make it to the Weather Ball, but Weather Ball is not going to be enough to KO, and now I'm going to launch the Leaf Storm. Leaf Storm into the Pelipper, gets the KO. In the back, they have Wheezing, and they concede the match. Hopping into the final match, and this is a pretty funny one, picking up a good lead Tentacruel into Mawile. My opponent save switches into their own Tentacruel, and this is very tough. My opponent has a lot of grass counters on their team, and I have 2 grass types, so things are not looking good for me despite the fact that I had a really positive lead. I'm going to stay in with the Tentacruel here. My opponent fires off the Scald. That's going to land. Since I already Acid Sprayed them, I'm going to go for a Scald of my own. This Scald is going to get my opponent low. I do get the debuff. I'm expecting them to throw right before they get KO'd, so I catch the Scald onto my Roserade, but it's a Blizzard. I get one shot, I lose switch, and I concede the match. All in all, I would say the Trevenant hunt was in large part a success. Sawsbuck, well, It's ranked very low in this cup for a reason. It does have a very cool typing, but the combination of Feint Attack plus only nuke moves means that basically, unless it's a shields down situation or a situation where it has an energy lead, it's going to struggle a lot, and especially in a meta where something like Tentacruel's around and Tentacruel just crushes it with poison jabs, it definitely does make Sawsbuck difficult to use. So I definitely did lose elo while running this Pokemon, but man, being able to absolutely core break Trevenants was a lot of fun. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.